Well, we're back and we're faceless again. My apologies. I once again have completely goofed up on the presentation of the stream, but it's all good. We're back now. We're back, and it's a nice little Friday morning here. CME is going to be closing out the week it's going to be closing out for the week in the next 6 or 7 hours. We got plenty to talk about. A new few setups are emerging as well. I think more positive ones that I think a lot of people are probably looking towards, as we were going over in yesterday's video, and lots of things. When Krown screaming Leroy Jenkins. Holy shit, man. And if you even know that reference, well, we probably have the same addictions. We probably have very similar addictions. We're finally rich again. Bitcoin's back on 120,000 bucks. We're finally rich again, except we're not rich because everyone's holding fucking altcoins. At least that's what it looks like. Anyways, I see some good early morning streams, or some good early morning comments here. AI Tools Hub says, we haven't seen you go over any meta signals lately. They haven't been sending me any as of recent. Actually, let's go check up on their Twitter. In fact, I haven't even done this myself, but usually their glorious leader actually sends me the setups that I can or that he wants me to go over on these videos, because ultimately, you know, a lot of those setups, like you're supposed to pay for them, so I'm not like really supposed to show them, you know, that much. But let's just see what they've kind of fired off over here. Let's see if October 1st looks like Ethereum fired off one, and that one has been more or less fulfilled. That was a 4-hour time frame, firing off at 39.44. Hit all three targets up to 44.36. Not bad right there. Definitely quite good. In fact, let's see if they've fired off anything else as of recent. No, other than that, we have to go all the way back to September to see the last one. So yeah, man, you know, I am supposed to keep some things under wraps here. Of course, this is a paid service after all. But yeah, they do share some of these publicly, of course, in their Discord. If you want to get those in real time, just check out the link in their Twitter bio right here, just metasignals.io. They'll have a link to their Discord. They also do shoot out a lot of free signals there that are not posted on the good old Twitters. But yeah, man, you know, just because I'm not talking about it doesn't mean it's still going on. In fact, Metasignal is going to have a really big update, I think, relatively soon. I think they're planning in about middle of November. They're going to stop offering the NFT, so you'll no longer be able to get lifetime service, lifetime access to their program. You'll be able to do it, of course, via monthly subscriptions and all that good stuff. But what I think their plans are, and this is not set in stone just yet. It's hard for me to say. Again, you know, I'm speaking as an investor in their product, not as like their CEO. I'm not their CEO or nothing like that. I think a lot of people are kind of confused by that, or at least that's kind of what I gather from some comments. But what I gather their plans likely are into middle of November is they're probably going to release a token at some point that's going to give people like a revenue share as they do start to trade these strategies themselves. I think they're already kind of doing that as of the moment, but they want to up the equity a little bit. I think that's a plan going forwards. But again, nothing set in stone here. I haven't even spoken to their glorious leader in I think like a week or two now. But I'll keep you updated as I learn new information, because I think that actually kind of makes a lot of sense in their particular case. You know, it'd actually be like a real use case, I suppose. Anyways, many things to be speaking about today. Underslept Krown shouting in my ears. Yes, sounds kind of gooey. I feel some gooey sometimes. I feel goo up as well. Saw some early morning conversation as well. It's actually very heartwarming to see a lot of the response in this chat. You know, someone was calling out, looks like the stats didn't work again. It's like, okay, oh my fucking God. First off, look, if one setup out of fucking 5 doesn't work out, is that bad? I mean, in my opinion, no. But it was much better to see the response from the community early on in the comment section. That's like, look, fucking stats are stats, man. Stats cannot fail. The only way that you can fail doing stats is literally by not doing the mathematical calculation properly. That's the way that you fail doing stats. Of course, anything can happen after that. It's just stats give you a more probabilistic scenario, which in my experience, it's always better to bet on the thing that is more probabilistically likely, even if that's a very small amount more, you know, let's say like a 55% probability of something happening versus 45% no, not happening. You know, I'm always going to go with the thing that is more likely to happen. That is just the way that it's going to be. And of course, if you don't understand that, I'll say the same thing as I always do on this channel. Just fucking leave, because I'm not going to change that. That is something that I feel extremely strongly about. Again, this is coming after 15 years of fucking doing this, man. I'm always going to go with the more statistically likely thing, and it's really, really good to see. It's very, very heartwarming to see that significant majority of the community seems to really understand that, which is awesome. That's who I do this content for. That's what I really want to focus this on. So yeah. Also, I want to address a super chat that we got here quite early on as well. I thought it was a really, really good topic that we could get into. It was something along the lines of, if you had like $50,000, how would you make 3 million as quickly as possible? And I want to actually want to record a quick video on this, because I think it could be useful, maybe to upload on its own. But let me just adjust myself here. I found it. It's from Once Upon a Time. And let me just finish off this caffeine. I need the extra power before we get into this one. But basically, the question is, pretend you're an inexperienced trader. Oh, very much I am at this point. Only ever use spot, and you're given $50,000. I mean, if you've only ever used spot, like, you're not going to be making $3 million anytime soon. But here's a real question. It's like, what sort of experience level are you coming from? Like, do you you could be inexperienced, but you actually have a framework for a strategy that you've actually proven to yourself. If you're already there, then this process can happen. I mean, it's still going to be slow, to be honest, but this process can happen. But if you don't already have that, then there's no roads for it. If you do not have a strategy that has been battle tested, and that it's it actually has longevity, then there's just your expected value on any trade over time is going to be zero. It's going to be closer and closer to zero over time. Yes, you might get lucky here and there, of course, but generally speaking, you will lose money. You will not make money if you do not have a strategy. This is like one of the other major points of this channel that I always want to be pushing onto this community, because it's just something that I have such a strong conviction with, similar to statistics and following statistics. And it is this: if you don't have a fucking strategy, you are guaranteed to lose money the more and more trades that you take. Yes, you can make money here and there. That absolutely can happen. But the more trades that you take, the more and more likely your account's value will go closer and closer to zero until it actually hits zero, and then it goes negative because you take out fucking loans and you max out your credit card and shit like that. Anyways, I'm gonna polish this off. Can you stop drinking into the microphone? No, I cannot. Anyways, all right, I'll actually record a video for this one because I thought it was really, really good. Let me just pull it back over here. I see another good question as well. From Giles to Bosch. We'll get to that in a moment. Or actually, that's just a very nice, that's actually just a super nice comment, man. Thank you for that. No request. Just want to say that I love your TA, following you since 2018 and learned a lot from you. I know, man, because I like I say, I always recognize all of the original gangsters, the OGs of this channel, especially who've been here since 2018, even all the way to 2021 now. I pretty much remember almost anyone who has been somewhat active in the comments or just in the community at some point. Must be a nerd because I made it my job. Hell yeah. Actually, even my wife starts trading now. Oh my God. This is like I don't know if this is a good thing. It's like the infection is taking over the whole family. You changed my life, man. Thanks. Greetings from Belgium. That's fucking awesome, man. I really, really appreciate that. But as always, man, I always want to push back the accolades to you, man, because it's very clear that you put in the effort, you put in the work. It sounds like you're having some good success for yourself, and now even your wife's doing it as well. I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing, but hey, if it brings you guys together, if it gives you guys some sort of extra common ground and some fun stuff to chat about, then I'm all for that, man. I'm all for that. So yeah, anyways, let me just pull back over here. All right, we'll get to the Once Upon a Time. Let me just record this. The question is, pretend you're an experienced trader who has $50,000 and has only ever traded spot. How long would it take you to make $3 million? Well, I would say that this question likely comes from a very, very good place. However, without any battle-tested strategy, there is no path forward that will lead you to $3 million. In fact, it will only lead you to $0 if you do not have an actual strategy that has been back-tested, forwards-tested, and then slowly ramped up in real time with a real account. That is the best way to actually get to where you want. That may take some time. In fact, that can take a very, very long time. Now, if you're an inexperienced guy, I think that the best place to start is to not trade any money. Save all that $50,000 as a good, nice starting point, but save it for when you actually have gone through the real work of backtesting a strategy and then proving to yourself that it actually can work. If you can do that, then it will be worth putting some of that money at risk. And I would suggest that in this particular case, if the goal is to make $3 million as fast as possible, forget about that for a while. Forget about that for a while until you have that first step in place. Then slowly ramp your way up there, because realistically, the biggest impediment that I see to people really making consistent money over a long period of time, whether it be 3 million, 5 million, 10 million, 100 million, whatever the fuck, is that they give away, they unnecessarily put at risk that precious starting equity, in your case, $50,000, before they've actually earned the skill. Because if you have not earned the skill, your expected value will always be zero over time. Yes, you can have winning trades here and there, absolutely, and you naturally will. But over time, the more and more trades that you take, the more and more likely your account's value will trend towards zero. Very nice. Yeah. So I know that that's not necessarily maybe what you want to hear. You know, there are multiple ways to get towards this, but that will be the major thread that relates all of them. Now, I would say that if you don't want to go through the really rigorous process of learning how to trade, on a more frequent basis, what I would really suggest is to just put that aside, either put it in a major ETF, put it in Bitcoin, something that you believe in long term, and just hold it. Yes, you're not going to make $3 million from that, at least not in this lifetime, but you will very likely make a good amount, over the next 20, 30 years. That would be, perhaps somewhere around, 500,000 to $1 million. Just kind of doing some compound computations in my head, depending upon what you get into. If you get into Bitcoin, maybe that's like 500,000 in the next 15 to 20 years. Maybe that's if you go into like the major US indice like SPY, maybe that's a little bit longer, 20, 25 years, something like that. But ultimately, $3 million from $50,000. This is crypto sort of math. This is crypto math, in my opinion. Are you going to basically? It's not like a 100x, but that's like closer to a 50x, a little bit more than a 50x. I'm just doing some bad mental math right now. Are you going to do that in any sort of a reasonable time frame? No. Especially if you don't already have this skill. So that's what I say about that, man. I know that that's not. I honestly know that that's not probably what you want to hear, but I would, if I was in that situation and I had like an external job in like a non-related sector, I would continue to work that job and I would just invest that money long term, because realistically, the time that it takes to get good at trading to the point where you're consistent is going to be a while. It's going to be a while, man. Even if, for most people that I see going through this process, I still think it usually takes about 1.5 to 2 years of consistent effort. And that really means like making it almost your job to study and to do the backtesting and to do all of the rigorous work that is really tedious. It's really, honestly, it's really fucking boring. Now, in my opinion, it's actually not boring, because there's nothing more exciting than like trying to find a new strategy that might work, because ultimately that might make you a fucking living. I mean, it could make you more money ultimately. So to me, that's extremely motivating. But, for the average person, perhaps that's not going to be. I mean, that's just a lot of just recording data, more or less. So, if you're not up for doing that, then I would just invest it the long term. For the long term, man, I wouldn't do anything on leverage. I would just do it on spot and just let it run. Not try to overdo things by putting these massive goals on your back, like $3 million from $50,000. I mean, that is tremendous returns. I mean, that's, again, more than a 50x. So doing that in any sort of a short time frame, less than like fucking 30 years, I think that that's just unreasonable, to be honest. And even if you do learn how to trade, you're still going to be taking time to get there. I think it could go faster if you learn how to trade, but listen to this statement very carefully, because it's not going to come exactly from trading. In my experience, the real snowball gets really going, and you really start to compound on yourself when you have the skill of trading, and then you use the proceeds from trading to invest more and let that compounding do it for you. So if you don't have, the skill of trading, then you have to have some sort of other skill that gets you an income in that way and do it the same way. So that could be from a regular job. You get your money from there, then you put that money in long-term investments. Again, not on leverage. Let that compound for you. That would also be, I think, a pretty, a pretty reasonable way to potentially get there. Maybe not necessarily to your targets, But, you know, it'll still be a sizable chunk of change, I would imagine, even in, you know, 20, 30 years, whatever it ends up being, you know, that could be more than $1 million, you know, I think. So, so yeah, again, the beautiful thing with trading though, is that in many cases, in many exchanges, you can use what are called inverse perpetuals, meaning that you can hold Bitcoin as collateral to do your trades. That is where some of the magic can happen, because then you're literally holding the asset as it's appreciating. Ideally, it's appreciating, obviously. And then you're trading for more. So if you can actually consistently do that, then yeah, okay, maybe you actually do meet these dreams. I still think it's going to take a long time, to be honest, but yeah, that would be, I think, a little bit more of a reasonable roadmap to get there. But just like putting it all in fucking red, hell no, man, that's not going to work. Again, any sort of money that you risk before you actually have the skill of trading is just money that you can't get back. I mean, it just puts you in a deeper hole. That's the big focus that I want to have on that statement. Anyways, yeah. Yeah, Asian massage reviews kind of summing it up as well. That mentality exposes you to the risk of buying tops with the idea that you need to keep pushing. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You know, you really don't want to set like an amount target for yourself, because there's just so many variables that can get in that way, and it puts extra pressure on yourself in a space where, you know, it's related to our earlier conversation. You can't have certainties in this sort of thing. And when you come from that sort of a mindset, and apply it to investing, you're gonna fuck yourself up, man. You're putting unrealistic expectations on yourself that cannot be lived up to. So yeah, man, that's gonna be a real struggle. You know, at least with a regular job, you have relatively consistent income that you can more or less count on. Yes, you can get fired. Yes, things can happen, obviously, but you know, perhaps it's a little bit more consistent. So at least you can kind of trust in that. But you can't have that same mentality as a trader. As a trader, you're more or less a business owner. You're more or less a business owner, an entrepreneur in a way, and any sort of gains, you know, coming in your future, they are not fucking guaranteed. I can tell you that straight up, man. I can tell you that straight up. You know, even if you have a really good strategy, it may be that your strategy, you know, it loses for a month, maybe even 2 months. You know, that can definitely happen. You can have a red P&L for, you know, for the totality of a couple months, or even more than that, maybe even a year. But over time, if that strategy again has a positive output, then yeah, you can overcome that. But again, that all comes back down to that earlier conversation of just putting in that fucking work. So again, man, it's I don't want to say like do this and you will make $3 million out of $50,000. I know that other channels will tell you just put it on fucking herpity derp coin and hey, did you check out this new thing and that new thing? Look, man, I'm not going to tell you that because I don't think that works. I think that that's honestly disgusting for people to promote, because it hasn't worked out for fucking anyone. You would think that people would figure it out from now. But hey, those channels keep on promoting that kind of bullshit, and I don't know, people keep on watching. So fair enough. I'm not going to name any names, but yeah, it is kind of disgusting to see, because it's like these fucking owners of these channels. I mean, they know. They can't be that, unself-aware. Anyways, if my strategy failed for a whole year, I would find a new strategy. Yeah, if you had negative returns for a year, I'd say it's probably not the best strategy. I could see something like that as perhaps relevant if you were trading like a weekly strategy, and you're taking like a few trades realistically per year anyways. That can happen as like a big money manager, these sort of things, long-term trading more or less. But yeah, if you have a strategy on like a fucking hourly time frame, you have a negative year, it's probably time to reconsider that strategy. I would 100% agree, Nikki Page. Even after like a month of negative returns on an hourly, I'd probably reconsider that one. But that still could happen. 2 months in a row, no, thank you. Anyways, one moment as I sippity sip on this water. Pin your message. Hold on one moment. Let me find Elsa's message. Is it at the bottom right now? What's up, Tom Struct? I see you over there. And Prickly Peppy. Maybe that could be one. I won't say it. But yeah, man. And honestly, there are many of them. Many of the biggest channels do this, and it's for a reason, because it does get less experienced and naive people, and to be honest, in a way, greedy people. It takes two to tango. You have one side over here who's telling you, oh, you're going to get 100x, by doing basically nothing. And then you have the person who's believing that. And it does take two to tango. I actually put the blame on kind of both, to be honest. you know, you can't just trust a random fucking idiot on YouTube. You can't trust me. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. Like, I'm a random idiot on YouTube as well. As I will always say, do your own work. You can verify the numbers that I give out. Absolutely. And you should do that if you have the time. Now, hopefully I'm doing it, you know, perfectly myself. And in fact, if you do find discrepancies, it would be good for you to let me know so that I can double check. That has happened in the past, but to be honest, usually it's because the person actually got it wrong themselves. But every once in a while it does happen. And of course, this is something I want to know because I want my numbers to be as, as clean as possible. So yeah, man. Anyways, bonk 'em. There you go. Anyways, let's see. Let's go over some traditional markets to start this one off. I just want to see where they're kind of trading at right now. We got U.S. markets opening up at this exact moment. We got NASDAQ futures right here, and they are up and away as usual, closing out the week on more or less new all-time highs. Today already has traded a little bit higher, coming down, but of course the first half hour of traditional markets is kind of like the fun time where crazy shit happens. You actually get your major movements, so it doesn't really matter what's kind of happening at this exact moment. I'd still wait. In fact, this one is on a delay as well for NASDAQ futures. Sorry. And then also SPY futures right here. In fact, we should go to look at the real tickers because they are opened up right now. Here's triple Qs, more or less. That is NASDAQ. Looking at this, I mean, again, am I bearish on a chart that's making new all-time highs? No, hell no. This is strength, and strength is begetting strength. The monthly closed on new all-time highs. Again, even if it traded back down to like 585, 585, I just look at that as a reconnect before higher. This is fucking good, man. Closing out the quarterly, very strong as well, super strong. Let's go look at VTI. VTI follows or tracks S&P. And let's see what this one's doing in real time. Again, basically the same thing on the quarterly, obviously. Weekly has made new all-time highs and is making new all-time highs at this exact moment, I believe. Yeah, this exact moment. So quite nice right there too. In fact, opened up on a gap up, just follow the trend, follow the yellow brick road, follow the trend road, follow the trend road. Seems like it does feel like a crazy time right now, to be honest. I've been watching all of my stocks just go basically straight up, no real test to the downside, no real drama to the downside. And that does make me more and more concerned overall because why is this happening? Why is this happening? Well, why is it happening? It's happening because fiat is being debased. That is why everything is going up. Everything is going up. And I feel like I just need to fucking shout at the top of my lungs on every goddamn video that I make. Hey, your fiat currencies are being debased at this exact moment. You are losing purchasing power every passing second. You either need to invest in assets or you die. If you do not invest in assets, you are basically like the Red Queen running in place, and that just means that you're falling behind. You have to progress, otherwise you are losing. You are losing. You are losing. You're losing. You're losing. You're losing. You're losing purchasing power right now. You need to get into fucking assets. Yes, I know it can be risky and there will be downside that you do need to weather the storm on. But if you hold fiat currencies, you are fucking losing no matter what. You are losing no matter what. Your expected value over time is a loss. It is losing. It's losing. It's really bad and it's happening and it's literally programmed in. It is a mathematical equation. It is happening at all fucking hours of the goddamn day. Buy my fart coins. Anyways, yeah, I look at all my stocks here and it's like, look, I'm not a fucking genius and I've had tremendous success in traditional markets as a long-term investor, for the past 6 years now since I started. I'm not that smart, so I know something is coming up. I know something is coming up here. But for now, it does seem to me like the markets are going to continue to do their thing, man. They're going to continue to do their thing. And perhaps it is indeed going to be another one of these parabolic blow-off tops in the fourth quarter. Bitcoin did close out September green. We do know our statistics for that. That implies that this quarter will very likely be generally very green, to quote some statistics right there. And we also do have some more setups kind of popping up here as well. And this is the best description of inflation I ever saw in my life. I mean, the more and more that I get into long-term investing, the more that I just realize this is just long-term investing in assets is just a vehicle to keep your fucking purchasing power for most things. In fact, most things aren't even gaining real value. They're just making up for fiat debasement. And on top of that, yes, some things actually do gain value. And that's the real skill in long-term investing right now, is to find those things that are actually outpacing inflation and getting real gains, and preferably good gains on top of that. And there are, and they certainly do exist. They're mostly in the tech sector. Technology keeps on pushing forward. These are the ones that are making real differences and accruing real value over time. At least that's what I've noticed. Yes, there's a few other things as well, but they're massively falling behind behind. So yeah, I totally understand it. We do have a K-shaped economy. People who own assets are going straight fucking up. It's amazing. It's amazing if you own assets. If you don't own assets, like most people, you're the bottom side of the K. You're going down. It's a down only fucking curve. And it blows my mind that this shit is not taught in schools. Again, I went to university, I studied business, I studied economics, I studied, even tax things as well. No one ever fucking mentioned this shit. No one made a big deal about it fucking ever. Not fucking once, okay? I know the 4 Ps of business. Which is not very useful, to be honest, in practicality. But I didn't know shit about inflation, man. I didn't know shit about tax optimization either. That's why I'm releasing all this content on my YouTube. Just fucking watch. If you just invest a little bit in your education by spending time, not even money, it's fucking free on YouTube. You can learn all of these things and more, man. It's amazing. It's truly amazing. So I really want to spread that content out. And look, investing is fucking easy. It's super easy to open an account. It's super, super easy to open an account. Go to Fidelity, go to fucking Vanguard, go to E-Trade, go to whatever. It doesn't matter. They're all basically the same shit. Open an account, invest in the long term. Yes, like I said, it's not a free ride to riches, and especially if you're starting with a low dollar amount, there can be issues. If you need the liquidity right now, then the market is down. That's where you run into issues. Yes, of course. But your other option is to hold fiat dollars, which are losing value anyways. So ideally, what I would do in most people's position, ideally what I would do if I was in what I think is kind of like the average position that most people have, which is like, a regular job, a 9 to 5, you get a consistent income, is I would save about 3 to 6 months worth of expenses in my fiat accounts, or maybe even just put it in a money market account. In fact, that's exactly what I do. I put it in a money market account because those are very liquid. You can pull out the money nearly immediately, and at least you're getting a return there. It's a small return. It's about 3.5% to 4%, but you're getting a return there. That's where I'd keep my liquid cash. Then everything else, I would just invest in, not in fucking Fartcoin, but in S&P 500 or triple Qs or whatever. The major indices. You don't need to get fucking cute with it. Just do that. You'll make money over time. And again, having that sort of emergency fund in a money market, it's going to be more or less liquid. At least you're getting a return there. So you are at least the idea would be you're at least kind of keeping pace with inflation. But yeah, man, every second that you're holding fucking dollars, every second that you're holding euros, every second that you're holding pesos, you're losing purchasing power. Every fucking second. It is bleeding out. It is bleeding out. It is bleeding out. All right. Okay, Dave Ramsey. Yes, fair enough. Cash is trash. It is until you need it. Yeah, buy a bit. What's funny, man? I promise I'll get into the analysis right after this, but this was genius. If you know who Sean Strickland is, he is a UFC champion. These guys are, usually very, very tough people, and he was going after like some sort of financial guru grifter guy. I think his name is like Derek Moneyberg or something like this. It's just like a fucking caricature of the most unscrupulous, basically scammer is what it looks like to me. But again, I don't fucking know. So maybe he's amazing. Anyways, Sean Strickland was calling this guy out. And then he goes on to give the best fucking financial advice. This coming from a UFC guy. He goes on to give the best financial advice. It's like, look, you don't need to listen to this fucking idiot over here. He's a scammer. What you should do is you should just invest in major ETFs, get your 10% a year in your SPX or your triple Qs, own a house. That's going to be your best investment in the short term. Just wait for prices to drop as interest rates go down as well and the mortgages come down. Do that basically. If something along those lines, like, yeah, okay. Actually better advice than 99% of fucking crypto YouTube. Amazing, man. Fucking amazing. What's up, the crypto? OG from late 2017 had a hack event and finally getting back into the game. Any thoughts on TAO? Oh, we'll get into some shitcoins later, man. Also, are the old Jewel and other indicators still valid? Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Anyways, all right, let's get into some Bitcoin analysis right here. We'll start it off as always with some daily price statistics, and Friday is slightly in favor of positive closures over negative closures since this bull market began in 2023. But as always, we care about the average percent gain and the average percent loss. In fact, in today's one, the average percent loss I think is actually incredibly valid right here, because if Bitcoin were to come back down to that 118,500-ish boundary right here, I would be expecting a bounce. And in fact, Bitcoin's wick to the downside already today kind of looks to me like an early test of that. By the way, I want to once again call out that yesterday has once indeed again played out with that beautiful pullback after testing the top side of that average returns range high. This is like, it is absolutely hilarious how well this thing catches short-term scalps. Anyways, if Bitcoin were to head to the top side of this, of this average range boundary today, that would be about $123,000, a little bit above there to be fair, 123,100 or more or less. I would be looking for a pullback on the first pass. Again, first pass very likely does get a pullback on these, or of course a bounce if it approaches the bottom side of this. But the second pass, significantly less likely. You need to look no further than just 2 days ago on Wednesday, where Bitcoin did pull back on the first test on the top side boundary here, then close the day well above. That's beautiful as well. But again, if you are a short-term time frame scalper, I just think that this is like hilariously simple and works out incredibly well. This is a historical price action statistics indicator. It is a part of Caretaker's indicator suite. You can find a link to it in the description below and try it out for free. Do all that good stuff. Anyways, moving on from there, I want to address the setup that we looked at on yesterday's video. This is the 5-day time frame 5 EMA setup. Super simple setup. Whenever Bitcoin closes above that red 5 EMA, it opens a long. Whenever Bitcoin closes below, it closes that long. Yes, it is not fully optimized. However, just as a proof of concept, over the past 10 years, it has produced this. And I would say that that is pretty fucking good. It is more or less designed to catch all of the major trending moves for Bitcoin, meaning that I cannot expect a major trending upside move if this setup is not active or it's just not viable. Even then, it does have a lower probability to play out than most of our setups. In fact, under 40%. But it has caught all of the big moves throughout, I mean, basically throughout the past 10 years, or really throughout Bitcoin's full life cycle. But it is once again fired off yesterday, as Bitcoin did reclaim that red moving average at 115,500. It has now risen up to 117. If Bitcoin were to come back down to 117, I'd be looking at that as an opportunity, as typically you do get reconnects on the 5-day time frame, but that one's not necessarily guaranteed. But anywhere around there, yeah, if you want to play something like this, I think that makes a lot of sense, because if it is going to fail, you don't have to wait for too long for this one to prove, to disprove itself in a way, as typically failures happen within 1 to 2 candles or 1 to 2 closures, like you saw recently right here, respectively in August and September. It did take 2 closures for each. The winners typically take a lot longer. On average, though, those are open for about 10 bars. And we did see a couple of these work out relatively recently. Calling the move here, about 50% move from about $80,000 all the way up to $110,000. Not bad. Okay, not necessarily a 50% move, but pretty damn big move nonetheless. And then another big move right here, and then did catch the earlier 50% moves that we have seen throughout this cycle in 2023 and 2024, right here, and once again right here. Anyways, like I said, this one has fired off yet again. The average return for this is, I believe, about 38%, something like this. Average money trade, 36.5%. Whoops, you can't even see it. My bad. Average winning trade, 36.5%. Average losing trade, about 5.5%. I like those. I like those returns there. 36.5% to that open would put us where? Would put us crazy times, about $160,000. Again, that does imply, about 50 days from that open. So that would put us in very late November if this is going to happen. Again, there is variance within these. These are averages after all. And for the earlier person who is absolutely fucking retarded and who did not understand this, I do not expect you to understand this. But for the people who are listening, in I think the majority of this community, there's going to be some variance. Might be a little bit earlier, might be a little bit later, assuming that this one does work out. But what I would say is a really good signal that if this one is going to work out is that you just see it not fail within the next 10 days. If you don't see it fail within the next 10 days, the probability of this one actually being a winner, and a big winner, goes up significantly, because again, the losers happen very, very quickly on average. Again, on average, not always. You have to understand averages are averages. There's variance within them. If you cannot understand that, it'd be like the same thing as saying, or I'll give this example right here. It's like me saying, okay, on average, men are taller than women. And then some fucking idiot in the comment section is like, no, that's wrong, because my aunt is taller than my uncle, so that's not true, and you're wrong, so haha. It's like, okay, you are correct, but also I am correct, because averages are averages. On average, there are more men who are taller than women. Crazy idea. Anyways, yeah, again, like I said, probably 99% of the community absolutely understands this, but for the 1%, just leave the channel. Like, it's not my job to educate you on this shit. Maybe even bigger issues at work as well. Who knows? Anyways, yeah, so my point is here, this one is now open officially, as Bitcoin did close above that red moving average for the last 5-day closure. And, if there ever was a time for Bitcoin to do something crazy, Q4 of this year does seem like a good time. Now, to me, this is a bittersweet thing, because if Bitcoin does go parabolic from here, it implies to me that long term there's going to be more issues. We're going to see another one of these long term sideways and downside markets, and we're not going to get what I would prefer as that sort of nice and lovely stair stepping up behavior that we have been getting throughout this cycle. If Bitcoin were to kind of blow its top off from here, it'd be the traditional 4-year cycle, and at that point have to kind of, well, expect the usual 4-year type shit. Fair enough. I understand that some people will like that, to each their own, right? For me, I would prefer steady gains over time, similar to, your major indices and whatnot in traditional markets. But again, to each their own, for the people who are in the shitcoin drawer, maybe that's going to be a good thing for you. Again, assuming that this thing does go parabolic. But we do also know that September closing green typically does bode extremely well for Q4 in that same year. So things are starting to line up. If there ever was a time for this shit to happen, it would probably be this one, if I had to guess. But again, very easy way to invalidate this. Very easy way to invalidate this. And the statistics will fail. Yes, they'll fail if this one is a failure. But that will happen if Bitcoin does close below about 117. So just be aware of that as well. Anyways, moving on from there, I do want to get into the weekly closure for CME. CME is going to be closing in less than 7.5 hours from this exact moment. And it does also have a chance to reclaim the median here on the HPDR. Now, we did see a rejection of the median a couple weeks ago, and Bitcoin did more or less test the bottoms of the 38.2 level right here. It wasn't exactly on there. So yes, again, the stats were wrong. But again, close enough is close enough when we look at this in the future. I mean, this was very, 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 very close to that test. So I look at that as completely fine, especially with the advent of this week price action really solidifying this as what seems to be a higher low. Now, that will fully confirm if Bitcoin does close above the median. That will happen today if Bitcoin is above 120,250 on, again, CME. So CME has a premium over spot price action of about $1,000. So right now it's it's decently above. On top of this, if we go over here, also for CME, we will have the very likely event of some hidden bullish divergence. In fact, 1, 2, 3 drives of hidden bullish divergence off of these last couple lows right here. So that is also quite good, especially alongside extreme lows on volatility for BBWP. That to me does say that this one really does have a chance, again, putting that into context of the 5-day setup over here with volatility that low on such a high term time frame. I mean, this is some of the lowest that we've seen in a long time. That does typically that does typically imply that we are going to see a relatively strong move. In this case, the momentum oscillators would suggest that that strong move is likely to come to the upside, as well as monthly statistics, as well as the 5-day 5 EMA setup statistics as well. So that is then going to be combined with the 10-day time frame, the weekly time frame here for CME on the stochastic momentum oscillator, which is going to have a chance to cross to the upside for the first time in quite some time if Bitcoin just finishes today above 115,600, which seems rather likely. Now, again, crazier things have happened, but seem again rather likely as of this moment. Nothing's guaranteed after all, but so far so good. On top of that, if you do want to be a pattern bro, well, this would be a bit of a symmetrical triangle right here. It's not necessarily the most perfect of examples, but it does give us a potential implied target for, I guess, a resolution of this, which would be more or less at new ultimate highs, slightly new ultimate highs at about 126,500 or so. Again, I guess that would be kind of a short-term target again, assuming Bitcoin more or less finishes this week out above $118,000. So there is that as well. Anyways, that's pretty much it for Bitcoin. I do want to let everyone know who does have access to the Krown's Trading Bible that the long-term investment tool, which is what you see me using right here to kind of guide my way through very long-term investments for Bitcoin in particular, although you can apply this to any other asset, is now available if you do have the Krown Trading's Bible. There is a module in there in the long-term investing section that will tell you exactly how to claim this indicator. You don't need to email Elsa or nothing like that. You can claim it for yourself. You can get it more or less instantly as soon as you follow those directions, which is super, super simple. Just click a few buttons and then boom, there you go. You can, by the way, customize this indicator to be as aggressive or as not aggressive as you want. So if you wanted to be buying, more frequent lows, then you can program it for that as well. But I have it to be extremely conservative here, more or less just buying macro lows. And I will continue to follow up on this, as we go from cycle to cycle. But obviously right now, there's not gonna be any signals over here because, I mean, this is the bullish part of the cycle, not the bearish part of the cycle. And so naturally, you're not gonna get a macro cycle low here, obviously. Anyways, yeah, that is available for you. And by the way, we also have put up payment plans for that same program as well. And that's the program where I have just all of my shit in there. I put all my shit in there. I've just packed it all in. What I mean by that is I put in all of my quantitative analysis and trading strategies in there, then the classical TA, then the options, then the trading psychology content. And as time goes on, onwards and forwards from now, I will upload content regarding my sort of revelations in long-term investing, starting with this indicator. But yeah, like I said, I still want to get more experience myself in long-term investing because realistically 6 years is not that long. It's not that long in long-term investing. I mean, shit, man, it really should be like 10 to 15 years to be honest. But I will upload as I go through the process myself and document my own journey. Anyways, I was going to say you need more than addressing. Fair enough. Anyways, I'm going to take a sip of this water, then we'll get into the super chats for today. Let's see. Elsa's got them already lined up for me over here, and let's see what we got. Okay. All right. Hold on. Getting all kinds of just randomly went into my emails like, what the fuck? So many emails already in the day. It's too early for a bunch of emails. Anyways, I should have known. I didn't even need to look at the chats. It is Mr. Steven Schickman. He is first. He's, as always, awesome about Dogecoin, but Dogecoin, I imagine, is still riding right above that red 5 EMA, now using it to kind of boost off of. So this is, again, why I have these rules. As long as you're above, hopium is alive. Hopium is, I suppose, all good. Again, I would have a major focus on last month's low as long as you're above there. I actually would be bullish on this thing, not necessarily based off of anything that Dogecoin itself is doing, but more or less what Bitcoin is doing. If Bitcoin's going to make new highs, more or less it's not wise to be bearish on even the shittiest of shitcoins, although it's not necessarily the shittiest of shitcoins to be fair. But yeah, as it stands right now, more or less fine. I don't see any, major signals here either way, to be honest. But the biggest thing and the most important thing for the long term, it continues to fly above, which is that red 5 EMA with all major moving averages in a bullish posture on the monthly time frame. Again, this is why I have these rules because, well, otherwise, if I was going off my opinion, I'd be saying over here, this thing looks like it's going to fucking fall apart. But of course, when you're above all of these, just don't be bearish. Just let it float to the upside, I suppose. And that's exactly what it's doing here. Quarterly time frame as well. I mean, it would be really nice if it could trade above last quarter's high. At that point, probably be looking for a move towards, 40 cents or so. But I imagine this one's really going to be contingent upon Bitcoin's ability to follow through to new all-time highs, more or less. Again, do I think it's a great investment? No, because I think that many other things are going to be outpacing this, regardless if it goes up or not. So it's not a fast horse is the point that I'm trying to make. If we look at Doggy versus Bitcoin, I imagine this is probably going sideways or down. I mean, it's a little bit down today, but it's still just uneventful. I mean, overall, your value is bleeding out versus Bitcoin. It's like you're losing more and more value to Bitcoin over time. It goes back to that earlier conversation about inflation slowly eroding your purchasing power over time. Same thing, like as this. When you're holding your shitcoins, you are slowly eroding your value over time. Now, yes, do shitcoins sometimes gain a little bit versus Bitcoin? Sure. Yeah. I mean, they have their pop-ups every once in a while, but over the long period of time, that is a nice line to the downside. It's, in my experience, it's not fucking good. The longer that you hold it, the more and more that you can expect it to just go down. Anyways, you're asking about Ethereum as well. Let's go check out Ethereum. Ethereum doing significantly better than Dogecoin, as this one is already close to all-time highs. I don't think that this one's as mature or as ready as Bitcoin, but it is certainly better than Dogecoin in this case. We do see hidden bullish divergence on the 5-day time frame, so that is good. I think maybe the 10-day time frame might have it as well. Let's see, because that would also be very, very nice. No, it does not, but not necessarily not entirely necessary for this, but just would have been nice. Weekly time frame does have potential for hidden bullish divergence here if it does finish this week out anywhere higher than 44.58, so that would be pretty damn good. Again, still need to wait 2.5 days for that to close out. But if that were to happen, I'd be looking for this thing to retest, basically $5,000, probably make new highs. That would be my signal for that. Monthly time frame, we did get the retest down to almost 3,800 that we were looking for at the end of last month. At this point, I would no longer look at any sort of a test to the downside below that number as good, meaning that all of the bullishness that we kind of just been talking about on Ethereum is contingent upon this thing's ability to remain above September's low of 38.25. As long as it's above there, up and away is the name of the game. Maybe not as fast as Bitcoin, but it very likely is going to be one of the next followers, which is relative strength to most of the things that we're probably going to look at today. But if you do come back down below September's low, that would no longer be a corrective thing to me. That would be a failure type thing to me. I honestly don't even want to see this thing correct, anywhere below 38. God forbid it's 36 at this point. But yeah, even the quarterly does have hidden bullish divergence. Obviously, that's more or less the easy portion of that's already played out. That was one of the reasons why we were bullish coming into last quarter for this thing. But now it's basically either new all-time highs or nothing. I think that the consolidation here is done. Like I don't see it. I don't see it operating within this range any longer. It must break out or fail. And I think if not any other time, then when? If not now, then when is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, this is its quarter to really do something, in my opinion. Pizza says, "Good morning, Krown. What's up, man? Could you take a look at XRP? Sure, we can look at XRP. Let's see, XRP here. I imagine it's probably following Bitcoin as well. We were looking for a move to $3, right in this red circle. It is right at the exact place that you would be expecting a rejection if it is going to be bearish. Now, Bitcoin doing what Bitcoin is doing, I'm not so inclined to think that this is going to reject here. But if you are going to get a rejection, it's the exact same red circle that we've had marked off for a couple weeks now. I would also go as far to say that if this thing can even just trade back above that Wednesday, the 17th of September high at 314, it's bullish, man. It's very likely going to retest highs, probably make new ultimate highs. Again, it's not going to happen all in the same day, but just keep a keen eye on this area right here. If Bitcoin plays out a correction from where it's at right now and another downside move, then that would be very, very concerning for something like XRP, which is right at the maximum point for failure, in my opinion. But assuming that Bitcoin does fall through, which I do think is actually more likely, then this thing, is very unlikely to break down, right? Looking at the 5-day time frame, just curious to see what we have going on here. I mean, nothing to be honest. It's still a consolidation. Weekly time frame does have hidden bullish divergence potential if it does close basically anywhere above about $3 by end of week. That should probably be the signal that this thing will pop back up, to former glories at about $3.50. So not bad there. All right, we got Freddie M. He says, CLSK, daily, weekly, pull back first or rip higher. All right, these are always like fun questions. Pull back first or rip higher for these time frames. Let's start off with the daily. Higher first before pullback. If it was going to pull back, this would have been the area for it to do at about 14.5. I believe that's exactly what we said last few times we looked at this one for you. And to be fair, it actually did last week, but to reclaim that area and more importantly, trade above last week's high on this current week, no, man, this thing wants to go higher. I think that this thing is going up towards $18, maybe even $20 before the next real pullback on a weekly time frame. Up first would be my opinion on this one. BITF, daily, weekly, pullback first or rip higher. This is actually a fun game. Pullback first or rip higher for these time frames. Let's see. This one likely rip higher as well. I would be looking closer to like $3.70 or maybe even $4 before I look for another potential pullback. Daily time frame, you are in a bit of a range in a way with the highs right here, more or less consolidating between about 310 on the upper end and about $2.50 on the lower end, right in bound with this last price action pivot. I would feel less confident to call anything on a daily. Because it could easily pull back first like this to 260, put in a higher low, and then try the upside move. And that wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be bad, honestly. But the weekly time frame, when we look at it from this angle, I think this thing's a lot more likely to try higher from here rather than pull back first. So can you have a pullback on the daily, but the weekly still rips higher? Yeah, absolutely. That is absolutely possible. So overall, I think that this thing's bullish. If it were to pull back, and really have like a real pullback, maybe 2.25. I don't think that there's a ton of downside on this one. That would still be an opportunity in my opinion, because look at the monthly right here, man. The monthly has a higher low in place, as does the quarterly, and it's already retested around that prior high. It's a bullish bias here. It's an overall bullish bias here, at least for me. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Once upon a time, yep, we got that one, so all good there. John Dude says circle stock continuation or dip. I'm loving these rip or dip rip or dip questions. These are actually quite fun, and actually probably a lot more relatable than the usual. Hey, look at a 4-hour daily. Anyways, is this one likely to wait? Sorry, I just looked at Coinbase. You're asking about Circle. I apologize. I am the redact in this conversation now. CRCL. Let's go down to a daily, and you are. Oh, you didn't give me a time frame here. This one actually significantly more hard for me, to be honest, just because it is at a point that you would be expecting a pullback. If you are going to get a pullback, right around this green 55 EMA on the daily time frame is as good a place as any. When I go to the weekly time frame, I do think that this one will try a little bit higher, maybe like 160 before you see a pullback, somewhere between 160 to 170, something like that, man. So it depends what time frame you're on. If you're on a daily, maybe it drops down to like 141st and then puts in that upside move. Weekly time frame, I do think you will get that upside move, but you're very likely to get a pullback, 160 to 170ish region, something like that. Yeah, something like that. Anyways, Get With The Hype says, GM Krown, what's up, man? Tesla on the daily, weekly, beautiful. Let's look at some Tesla. Again, full disclosure, I do own this one myself, so be careful. I'm talking my book here, but we've been bullish on this one for a while. This one's more or less at all-time highs. I'm still bullish on it. Could we see a pullback first and then it push to new all-time highs? Yeah, very possible here. If this thing comes back down to like 380, 390, I think that's completely fine. And I do think that you will get a bit of a pullback here, actually. Again, just by the virtue of retesting an all-time high, or any major high for that matter, you're usually going to pull back on the first pass. So again, if this thing pulls back to like 390, 380 even, I think that's fine. I'd be looking for a bounce around there and another try higher after that. Ultimately, I do think that this thing will make new all-time highs at some point in this corner, probably even this month. At least this quarter, maybe this month. But overall, very, very good. Daily time frame, yeah, a pullback first. I would feel quite confident on that. It's just, is it coming that far down? That's a question that only you can answer. I guess 10% is, 10% is 10%, right? Very nice. AI Tools Hub says, GM, sir, can you show your Krown LTI tool settings? I put those in the program. I won't show them here just because I do feel like some of those things need to be, I don't want to give away stuff too much that people are paying for. But if you do have that program, you can find the settings in there. I actually just uploaded them yesterday. And again, you can customize these setups to your heart's content. There's a lot of ways to play with them, man. There's a lot of ways to play with them. It just depends on how aggressive you want to be. So right now I have them on extremely conservative settings. But yeah. Anyways, we have Nicholas Carolyn next. Says monthly BBWP appears to be the lowest it's ever been. Let's verify that statement first. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I just want to know exactly the truth for myself. And yeah, well, no, technically not, but it's very, very close. This might as well be the lowest, right? But technically speaking, in May of this year, it was actually lower. That would be like the actually statements. Apologies on that, man. I know it's fucking annoying, but yeah, technically no, but whatever. Anyways, to be the lowest it's ever been. 1 week and 5 day are also on the floor. Yes, indeed. With the 5-day EMA setup in play now, it seems like a big move is baking. Yeah, this would be the backdrop that you'd be expecting on one of those explosive movements. Absolutely, I agree. Do you think we get any type of pullback before though? For Bitcoin, if Bitcoin's going to pull back and still play that out, then we really wouldn't be expecting any sort of a pullback, below, I think it was 117. Yeah, about 117 and change. It's already pulled back this morning to, 117 would be like the maximum pullback I'd be looking for. We've already seen a pullback this morning to 119. In the grand scheme of things, on a time frame like this, if this one does play out, it's going to look like the pullback already happened, to be honest, man. So it just depends on how much, how cute you want to get with these sort of things. Your risk is about $2,000 if it is going to fail. So, about $3,000 if it is going to fail. So just, be aware of that. And that's the only question that you can answer if you are comfortable with that or not. But yeah, I would generally agree with, the sort of backdrop that you have there. That's absolutely the backdrop that you'd be expecting for one of these setups to really play out in like a phenomenal sense. Absolutely, 100%. So good analysis on that, sir. Yes, we got Straight Path next. It says, hey, sir, I see a huge cup and handle on the monthly going back to 2021 for CLSK. CLSK. Okay. Measured move would be 25 to 30 bucks. Let's just verify this first. Okay, so you're calling this a cup and this a handle. No, this does not work as a cup and handle, sir. With a cup and handle, the handle should be relatively short. It should be relatively short. So if the handle was resolved like, oh, shit, okay. If it was resolved in this first red circle right here, then that would be accurate. And also, a cup and handle is a continuation formation. This would be a reversal formation. Again, I know it's like an actually statement, you know, but technically speaking, no, it would not be. You do have a falling channel here if you care about that sort of shit. Fair enough. I don't think you necessarily need a measured move or anything like that. Ultimately, if this thing, you know, really reclaims this high, I think you are going to be absolutely right. But I'm never going to like long-term history of just kind of down only like this, even though I do think in the short term it probably does spike up a little bit higher. $20 is still a far cry away from $30. I mean, that is a tremendously big move. You know, it's a 50% move from 20 bucks to 30 bucks. So yeah. Anyways, I think Elsa's struggling in the background. What's going on over there, sir? Oh, you're Elsa says her hands hurt and then she points to her shoulders and it's very confusing. Anyways, Darian says, bro, do you think Dro on ASX has topped? I don't know. Let's go look at it. Oh, this is the drone shield. Yeah, I remember we looked at this one on Wednesday. Do I think it's topped? No, not yet. No, this is not a top to me. Yeah, this is not a top to me. I wouldn't call it like this. Maybe if it came back down below like $4.50, okay, yeah, I'd call it a top. But I mean, shit. Even as long as it's above yesterday's low, I would just not call a top yet. I mean, look, man. Until it comes back down below at least fucking yesterday's low, I don't think that this is not a fucking top. Weekly's about to turn up again. I would be betting on higher. Again, it's a super easy trade here as well. I mean, this is the easiest sort of setup. It's like, look, as long as you are above yesterday's low, just be fucking bullish and let it float. If you come back down below yesterday's low, okay, yes, you do have a swing high in place and be expecting the next move to the downside. It's that simple. So do I think it's topped? No, I don't think so yet. It's probably pretty close, but you know, I'd still be betting an upside from here until that is taken out. So you need an objective place to kind of call it. Anyways, one moment. Oh, baby. That cold brew is coming up real strong. Live City says, Litecoin pull back first or rip higher or dead. I mean, it is more or less dead over the long term just because it hasn't done shit. Irrelevant. Again, it's just like when we're talking about long-term investments, getting in the fastest horse, is this thing anywhere near that conversation? Fuck no, man. I mean, look at the Bitcoin. Like, this is absolute fucking garbage. Like, just, if you want to lose money over time, just hold Litecoin. Just hold Litecoin. You're losing your purchasing power. Because again, even if you are holding steady versus the US dollar, your US dollars are worth less and less over time. So you are losing here. This thing has been the same price more or less since 2017, man. This is a waste of time. It's a waste of time as an asset. Now, can it have one of these upside moves? Sure. Is it going to outpace many other things? Fuck no. This is a garbage investment. This is a fucking garbage investment. Do I think it's going to rip higher first? Depends what time frame you're looking at. I think you're going to generally try higher from here. Probably does try back up around 130, 135 region. Do I think it's going to break out for here? It's possible. You know, it has that same setup that we see on Dogecoin, on Cardano, on Linkcoin, all of these things. But again, these are just not strong if they're not already around all-time highs, which this one is nowhere near. It's just, yeah, I think it's going to go up because it's above all these major moving averages. Just, in my opinion, very bad investment because so many other things are massively outpacing this. Like, this is just, like, why put all your fucking eggs in? Why put any eggs in a basket like this? It's only proven over time that it doesn't do shit. Even if it got back up to $400, I mean, for fuck's sake, it's not even catching up to all the other things in that amount of time frame to begin with. I mean, it's just, in my opinion, why? Unless you like truly believe in fucking Charlie Lee, even if you, I don't even know if he's still, you know, involved with this project. Why? Just fucking why? Freddie M says, Hive daily weekly pullback first. I'm loving this game. This is a fun game. It is a fun game. I'm guessing this is probably the crypto, but let me know if it's the stonk. Okay, if it's the crypto, just down. It's down, only it's garbage. If it's a stonk, maybe this could be better. Actually, hilariously similar charts here. This one actually quite difficult, in my opinion. This one's quite difficult because it does seem like it is going to reclaim that 200 simple on the weekly. So I probably would be betting on higher if I had to, maybe close to like $5, something like that. Because, it did reject on the first pass, but to see it reclaim that almost immediately after that, that to me is a very strong signal. So I would be betting on short-term upside, maybe back up to like $5. Long term, I'm not going to love it, obviously, because it is a general downtrend, but I do think it's more likely to go higher from here than not. But this one was genuinely a hard one, I think. Noah Reason says, sips water, Velvet short term. Sure, man. This one, I saw for the first time a couple days ago. Let's see what it's doing now. And it is a newer shitcoin, and it is going up. Like, why hold fucking Litecoin when you can hold a new shitcoin? If you're going to play fucking shitcoin roulette, like, you might as well hold the new ones, because at least they can go up a decent amount on their first cycle. Litecoin will always be held by its past shittiness. That's the problem with those things. You're always held back by the past shittiness of the charts, with many, very ardent holders, believing in the technology, just waiting to sell at fucking break even, right? Anyways, Velvet here, to me, this makes good sense to try a little bit higher from where it's at. I'd be using that Tuesday low as a nice pivot at 16 cents, meaning that as long as you're above 16 cents, I treat this one as more likely to try back up towards 22 cents or even a quarter. Before anything else, you do have stochastic momentum about to turn back onto the upside, with any sort of a closure above 19 cents today, which actually it's not above as of this moment, so that would help. But yeah, I guess it'd be slightly more weighted to the upside. But again, when you're playing shitcoin roulette, they all generally head towards the same destination over a long period of time. But, if this really is going to be the big move for Bitcoin, then I would imagine that these things are at least not going to dump. They should at least, especially something new like this, should try sideways and up. Yeah, if I had to call it, it'd be up from here. 22 to 25 cents or so, with an invalidation on that Tuesday low, more or less. Anyway, some more agua for me. The Mossinator is back. He says PSTG, pure storage. All right, let's bring this one up. PSTG. Whoops, I do not spell things good. Here we go. Pure storage. I wonder what they do. All right, what is the actual question? Daily, weekly, please. Looking for a pullback. Been following since 2018. Hell fucking yeah. Looking for a pullback. I do think you're going to enter into a short-term consolidation here. If that's the kind of pullback you're looking for, maybe it pops back down to like $83. But overall, this is bullish, man. This is bullish. And I even feel that confident about a pullback to 83, because if I'm on the weekly here, I think that this thing's making new highs next week. So that's the thing. When you're in blue sky breakout territory, you can really only expect like small dips. And you just got one earlier this week, right to the 21 EMA. Maybe it drops close back down there as well to open up next week, maybe like $83, $84. But the direction is up, man. The direction is up, especially as long as you're above last Friday's low of $81. Below there, I think this thing would actually have a real pullback down to like 73, 74. But I think that's a lot less likely to happen, man. Just shooting you straight. I think this thing is going up from here. The LARP line's more or less following through. Just send them higher, I guess. Anyways, Noah Reason says on Amex, GDXJ. I'm guessing this is some sort of gold miner or something. GDXJ, junior gold miners. Nice. Up and away. But you are right at that last prior major swing high from September 2012. So you are in the monthly, so that I think that this does hold a lot of weight here. I'd be looking for a pullback actually around this region. It might spike up slightly higher to 102. Go for that round even number. But I do think you're going to generally stall out around here. There might be spikes higher than this, yes, but ultimately I think that the easy portion of this first move is done, and you're going to enter into consolidation. There will be some downside. It's still going to be bullish, I suppose, but it could come all the way down to like $83 sometime in the next 3 months and still be okay. That's kind of my point here. So overall good. I just think you're going to stall here a little bit, consolidate, probably play out some downside, and then try some more upside from there. Yeah, hopefully that was helpful, man. Freddie M says BTBT. BTBT, okay. It's a new one for me. Bit Digital, or is this a Krypton? No, it is not. BTBT, Bit Digital. Whose company is this? This sounds familiar. Daily, weekly pullback first or rip? I love this game, man. Let's go to the daily. Daily pullback first. Maybe back down to like 320, 315. I don't know, something like that. Weekly higher. So again, it depends what time frame you're on. I think you might get a very shallow pullback here, but ultimately the weekly wants to go higher. The weekly wants to go back to $4, maybe $4.50. So it depends what time frame you're on. If you're on the weekly, I think it's a pretty simple one right here. Just up, man. Up. The pullback on the weekly is not going to even really look like much once this thing gets going. To be fair, not sure about this long-term chart, but yeah, at least right here, should try a little bit higher. Mr. Saleh, do you think Aster is going to all-time highs? Sir, it's like literally been a week since this thing's been around. Even fucking Elsa knows. Like, she starts laughing as soon as she hears the fucking name. Look, Elsa knows a lot more than she lets on, honestly. But for fuck's sake, what kind of no offense, but what kind of question is this, man? It's been around for literally a week. No, it's been around. Okay, it's been around for like 2 weeks now. Okay, all right, 2 weeks. I'm wrong. Is it gonna rip to all-time highs from here? Can you look at it on the 4-hour? I can. Let's go look at it from this angle here. Yeah, Tesla is pulling back. Haha, it's working. I mean, I think the next move is going to be a pullback from here. You got hidden bearish divergence between this high and this high. You get high highs on RSI with lower highs on price action. Do I think it's going to hit the all-time high at some point? Yeah. I don't think that this is going to be the all-time high for forever, but is it going to happen from this exact point where it just goes straight moon mode from here? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Yeah. But again, look, I'm doing analysis on something that's fucking 2 weeks old, man. There's literally nothing honestly works on shit that is this new. Look, your 55 EMA barely populates here. Analysis is worthless on shit like this, man. It really is. It's too new. It's too new. I think it's done going up for a little while. I think you're in a sideways consolidation. Your next move is probably a range move, if anything, man. That would be my take on this one. But yeah, would I hold to this analysis? Hell no. It's way too new. All right. We got Rod Santos next. He says, hey, Krown, long-time listener since 2018. Fucking yes, man. I love the OGs. Thank you for your time and efforts. All good, man. Please check CAW, a hunter's dream. Oh, okay. CAW. All right. Oh, God. All right. What is this? What am I walking into? At least it went up recently, so that's good. Long-term weaker month. Oh, okay. This one actually does have a lot of history, so we actually can look at a weekly. Maybe not so much a monthly, but to be honest, honestly, not that bad here. Like, I want to hate shit like this because it just looks like another random shitcoin, right? But honestly, doing better, especially in the short term compared to most of these things that we looked at today already. Do I think it's going to spike a little bit higher? Yeah. These numbers are hard to read because they're so small. It's really hard to trust shit like this, but it does have a history of kind of playing out one major range, right? This has been going on since 2021 or 2022. Here's your range high. Here's your range low. You just rejected the range low. You're at the middle of the range, more or less. Let's actually see exactly where the middle would be. You're quite close to it, very, very close to it. It'd be right about here, so like a smidgen higher than where it's at. If you can start to close above whatever the hell this ungodly number is, I actually do think that you are going to get another spike up towards these highs here. Do I think it's going to continue to new highs? Probably not, just because it never has. But that could be a big percentage move. I'm actually curious what that would look like. Yeah, that's 30% all the way up to here. I think that's actually quite likely. If things go really crazy, maybe 50%. But yeah, interesting one. I won't ask any more questions. Yeah, man. It's very difficult to trust like literal shit coins, but I mean, if there ever was a time, yeah, I actually would think it would try some upside from here in the next 3 months. Rizla says, Mr. Krown, Mr. Rizla, long-term on the monthly for a zip on ASX. Okay, a lot of stocks today, not even on U.S. markets, on exotic markets. Actually quite good. This one is a real reversal. You got a quarterly higher low and a higher high, so the reversal is real. I think that this thing's going back up to $6 over time. There's going to be pullbacks along the way, obviously, but yeah, I think this thing's going back up to $6. 6-ish, give or take. I don't know if I'd call it all the way back to prior glories or nothing like that, but yeah, still even from here, like move to $6 is pretty big. $6 or $7, something like that. Straight Path says, I missed those 2021 soundboard action for shitcoins. I know. Soon my regular computer will arrive. It's taking its time. Don't fucking ship yourself by actual shipping, okay? Because it literally comes on an actual boat and it takes 3 months to arrive if you are living in a different continent, okay? Just PSA. Don't do it. Don't fucking do it, as Elsa says. Yeah, man. Soon it'll be back and in even greater force. I'm very excited for that, man. Vahid Gabel. Hopefully I'm saying that properly, man. CRWV. CRWV. Let's see. CRWV. Let's bring it up first. This CoreWeave. It's been kind of like the new meme stock, I think. Pull back first or rip higher. This is a fun game. 4 hour and daily. Okay, if you're on a 4 hour and daily, that's going to be... Well, let's go to a 4 hour. Yeah, I have to go to the weekly to really get a read on this one. I do think that this one will spike higher officially to your swing high from August at 149, 150-ish region, and then pull back from there. Now, if we're on a 4 hour time frame, could we play at a pullback first and then spike up? It's definitely possible on a 4 hour. I don't know if it's going to be on a daily. I don't think it's going to happen on a daily, but maybe on a 4 hour it does spike back down to this 127 gap right here and then try that move to the upside. So it might be very short-term pullback, then medium-term follow through, because I do think you're going to get back up somewhere around here, like about 150-ish region. Yeah, love you to the moon and back as well, sir. But I really would be looking for a pullback around here. I don't think it's going to like bust through to the prior highs from June. I think you're more likely to play at a consolidation range here. But yeah, I guess that would be more like short-term up. If you're on a 4 hour though, it could spike down very slightly first. So I don't know if that's like the pullback that you'd be looking for. Probably not. I might be just kind of like being a little bit too microscopic myself, but yeah, you let me know. Mr. Fizz Cyber says, love you, Krown. Love you as well, sir. Been watching since you was going to get your girl new boobies at all-time high of $20,000. Keep up the great work. I appreciate that, man. We are trying to spread big titties to the whole world. I love big titties. It's my favorite thing, man. I love fucking big titties. I don't care about asses. That's gay. Like, anyone has an ass. Guys have an ass. Girls have an ass. You know, what's the difference? But boobies, that's something that only beautiful women have. And also trans men, women, whatever the fuck, you know what the hell I'm trying to say. Anyways, they got boobies as well. But, you know, honestly, I think I've just come into a logical conundrum. I love boobies, trans boobies. Would I rather have trans boobies or not trans boobies? Yeah, I would actually. That would be better. It's better. Like, at least if you're gonna be a fucking girl, you gotta go balls deep into being a girl and get the fucking surgery. Get your boobs. If you don't have the boobs, I don't think you're trying hard enough. Okay. You know that guy. What's his name? The one who did the Bud Light commercial. Who? Yeah, Dylan Mulvaney. He's not fucking trying. Okay. I don't buy it if you're not fucking trying. All right. Put some goddamn skin in the game by putting some big old titties in yourself. All right? Like, that's the worst, is when you get a trans and they don't even fucking try. They're just going with their bare chest out there. No, get some fucking tits. That should honestly be the requirement to be taken seriously as a trans. Like, did you get the titties or not? If you got the titties, okay, fine. Yeah, that's great. If you didn't, I question your commitments. Anyways. Can you see COMP on that? I was trying to look for the actual ticker there. Sorry, man. COMP, is this crypto or stonk? It's probably crypto. Yeah, I remember this one from 2021. Monthly and weekly, bad and worse. If this is actually what you're looking at, maybe it's a stock, but yeah, this is just terrible, man. The only thing that you'll forget on this thing is just these one-off spikes that, yeah, they do happen, but they're all going to fail. They all fail, man. It'll never go back up to this prior all-time high, or at least I would say it's extremely, extremely, extremely unlikely to ever happen. But yeah, over here, man, whether it spikes up to 53 or whether it just goes straight down from here, it doesn't matter. The long-term direction is to the downside, in my opinion. Assuming that this is what you mean to begin with, it might be the actual stock, which would probably be much better, actually. But yeah, this one's pretty bad. Pretty bad. Again, you could be even Litecoin's doing better than this absolute amazing Shiite coin. Anyways, excuse me. All right, one moment. Mr. Giles is back. Follow up on my previous message. My wife is not happy with your reaction. Don't tell her, but I plan to compensate her loss. Oh, she's not going well. All right, yeah. See, that's the issue, man. When your wife starts doing poorly in investments, that can cause some internal conflict, man. Hey, I wish your wife the best. I wish your wife the best with her investing journey or trading journey, whatever it may be. But yeah. I hope you do enjoy it. If it brings you guys together closer, that's awesome, man. But yeah, it's a rough road. That's kind of the point that I was getting to. It's like, I don't know, if you know, if she's truly committed to learning, then hey, more fucking power to you. But you know, I feel like or at least from what I hear, financial issues are probably like the biggest impediment for any relationship going forward. So it's like, I don't know. When you first get into trading, usually it's going to be losses, so that can cause some internal strife. Anyways, it sounds like things are going well with you guys anyway, so I'm probably just talking bullshit. So fair enough. Apologies to the wife. Fizz Cyber says, bro, it was COMPUSD on the weekly monthly. Gotcha. Okay, thank you for specifying. And yes, it is this exact absolute shitty chart. So we are indeed correct on this one. Yeah, man. This is just bad. It's just bad, man. Look, your like indicators don't even work for this thing. It's just it's dead. It's dead. Look, you might get, if you get a spike up to one of these areas right here, it's not because of anything TA related. I could not be able to tell you, and it's very possible that you do get one of these spikes up. Like, they do happen. It's just they all fail. So the longer you hold this thing, the more and more your expected value goes to zero. That's my point. Other than that, I really don't have anything helpful to say on this. The direction is down, though. And if it did spike up from here, I think best case scenario would be like $50 or $60, something like that. Eduardo Irazabal says AIA, 1 in 4 hour, please. AIA, is this crypto or stonk? Probably a crypto, because there is actually a crypto. D Agent AI. Okay. Very new as well. At least more history than fucking Aster. Probably the hourly is going to be more helpful than a 4 hour. Hourly time frame is consolidating after a pretty epic run right here. Actually, do you look at that as a good thing? Again, this would be like, if I'm going to play shitcoin relay, I want to play the ones that are newer like this. Actually running with the market. That's a good sign, you know, that it could do one of these crazy moves. Do I think it's going to shoot to new highs from this exact moment right here? Possibly, yeah, because it is a new shitcoin, but I would be looking at this range bound as long as you're operating between 186 to the upside versus about 101, 102 to the downside. And I do think that it will break this at some point. I'm just not confident that it does it on this one. You know, it might reject here one time, pop back down, set another low, then pop back up. Something like that is definitely possible. I don't have a strong opinion on whether it happens sooner or later, but I do think that it will happen, actually. 4 hour time frame tells me down first, because you do have bearish divergence here on extremes on the 4 hour BBWP. So yeah, if I had called, I think that this consolidation continues sideways for a while, and then you get another try to the upside, rather than just busting through to new all-time highs from this exact moment. So yeah, all right, looks like I'm through all of the super chats. Let's get on to the comments over here. Nice one. Chart's so bad it broke my indicator. Something like that. Ben's chair. JC says open stock. All good, Mr. Fizz Cyber. All good, man. Open stock. Yeah, we can look at open. This one was really popular as of recent. How's it doing now? It's doing quite well now on the 4 hour time frame, and also on the daily. This is a consolidation at a high level, setting in a higher low. I think this is very, very good. I think that this is very likely to pop back up to $10, maybe even make new highs. You got hidden bullish evidence here, a couple drives, and just general uptrend. So yeah, long term, kind of a problematic chart here, but I'd be looking for next move to the upside, more or less. What's up, Fibbo Swanee? Good to see you, man. Fucking good to see you, man. It's been a while, man. But as always, you let me know if you have any, whenever you want to come on. My DMs are always open, sir. I'm always waiting for you. Always waiting for you. Holy shit, we have one of the comment scammers in the live chat right now. Jesse Crypto says, where can I buy XAI1Z tokens in the pre-sale? Yes, well, I'm sure you got that from someone's YouTube comments. Or perhaps you are a literal bot scammer yourself. We may never know the true answer to this question or the motivations behind this, but I can assure you, whatever the hell that thing is, you probably don't want to own it. Lushfi Muradova, Miss Muradova says, could you check out Syrup, please? When all-time high? I don't fucking know. Let's go check it out, man. Or, when all-time, right now it's in a bit of a downtrend, so I'm not looking for all-time highs. I'm looking for the next low, if anything. And this is not great right here. You got some hidden bearish divergence on the daily time frame. I think next move is probably back down to like 36, 37 cents. I believe that was one of our targets when looking at this thing back on over here. Do I think this thing's going to go back to all-time highs? It's going to require Bitcoin making new all-time highs for this thing to have a chance. Yeah, I really, like, when all-time high, I have no fucking clue on something like this. You know, this is Right now, it's like, for fuck's sake, at least get into an uptrend first. So you need to get back above about 50 cents to even get the potential for an uptrend. If anything, right now, I think next move is to the downside. I wouldn't necessarily call it a breakdown here, but probably retest your lows from last week. And then if it's going to bounce, I guess that would be the best place for it to do it from. But it's going to really require a strong Bitcoin for this thing to flip back into an uptrend and, you know, make new all-time highs. I will say this, though. This does not look like an all-time high to me, meaning that I don't think that that's... I do think it will make a new all-time high at some point. But does it head lower first, maybe to like 30 cents, and then set in a higher low and then try some upside moves? Or does it try it from here? I think it's more likely to head lower first, honestly. But yeah, I really don't have strong opinions on this thing. Monthly, not a big fan of. In fact, if I do look at the monthly, I am more inclined to say maybe never. there are no guarantees on something like this. And if you're talking about this all-time high, I don't know if we're on the same page at that point. Yeah, that's about as good as I can do on this thing. Krown, did you see that the CME group is looking to offer 24/7 trading for crypto futures and options? Cool. I mean, I think that'd be a good overall thing, because it doesn't really make sense to me that markets closed to begin with, you know. Yeah, generally just more liquidity via just more time for trading is going to be a better thing. I mean, like, what if you need to sell over the weekend, right? Like, it's going to be a lot better. Especially it makes sense for Bitcoin, right? Because you have Bitcoin futures, which don't trade over the weekends and have like an hour-long gap during the weekdays where they don't trade. But then you have the underlying, which is always trading. Like, at least in stocks, it kind of makes a little bit more sense. Because your futures are supposed to be able to hedge you during those times, but it's like the opposite for Bitcoin. It's the spot where you can actually make trades over the weekend and hedge yourself, and during aftermarket hours. And the futures you cannot. It's like backwards. Anyways, let's see. Nicholas Carolyn says, do you have a special stochastic indicator, or is it the standard one off of TVA? It would be this one right here. So the stochastic oscillator is the same. We use different settings for it. And then we also have, for this particular indicator, we have a reverse calculation that spits out the price that would need to be satisfied by closure in order to force a cross in either direction. So that will not be publicly available on TV. But if you're just looking for like this portion of, well, you won't have this as well, but literally just the oscillator portion of this, yeah, that is available on TradingView, but it'll give you the default one. We use different settings. 1436 is how it goes, at least for what I use for crypto. For traditional markets, I do not use that. I would not use that. In fact, I don't really like this stochastic oscillator for traditional markets. I like RSI a lot more, but yeah. TPTMH says Redstone, please, Krown. Thank you. All right, I'm just going to type in Redstone here. Usually a ticker is the best way to do this. I'm not seeing anything pop up with that exact name, man. So ticker would be a lot better if you could just include that, please. Maybe I just try one word. Oh, it is a crypto. Holy shit. It's Redstone versus the... Okay, great. All right. Yeah, I'm sure this can be great. Oh, what do you know? Nice big downside move after a spike up. To me, this just looks like a failure. Another one of these failed moves. The one thing that you can always count on with shitcoins is that their rallies will fail. This one seems to be failing already. If I had to call it, I think this one's coming back down to the lows from last week at 41, 42 cents, something like that. Not really super strong opinions on this thing. I would be biased towards that move happening. The only way I'd change my mind if it popped back up above this week's high. It's not even helpful analysis, man. It's not even helpful analysis, but I'd be more inclined to see it come back down to last week's lows. And if it breaks last week's lows on a closing basis, I'd probably be looking for this thing to come down to like 25, 30 cents. Kind of a hard one though, because it's just, I mean, these things are like so fucking trendless. Anyways, John Dude says REMX ETF. Yeah, man. I called this one out in the Discord, like, this was like in April or May of this year. And I do hold this thing. So again, full disclosure, I called it out right around here. I'm bullish on this thing. Again, I do hold it. Full disclosure, I own it from this area here below $40. I think it is going higher. So, but I might be biased here. I do think it's going to go up to about $80, $85. Other than that, I don't have super strong opinions on it. If you're on the short term, which it doesn't sound like you are because you're asking about a weekly and a quarterly, but I guess weekly, you know, if it was going to stop somewhere and have a consolidation, it would have been right here at 68, 69 bucks. And it did for a small amount of time, but reclaiming it with such a strong girthy green dildo, you know, coming into the end of this week. So you only got another 5.5 hours left, less than that actually. You know, I'd be really biased for just saying heading up first, somewhere around $80 to $90. Let's just call it $85 in between. It'd be nice if it goes much higher than that, but that's where I think is a high probability move. And personally, and also tell you this as well, I will cut some of my position there, in that vicinity. Not all of the position, but definitely some of it. It's been a nice run. That would be a 3x. A 3x, fucking crazy, man. Another indication that your fiat currencies are being debased. They're being debased every fucking second. Every fucking second, your fiat currencies are bleeding. That's why all these things are going up. All of them are going up. This one's gone up 3x in literally less than a year, or close to 3x. Well, sorry, it's actually not even 3x, about 2.5x. I'm thinking about literally $30. Anyways. Pricey says Palantir stock daily weekly current buy zone target. Let's see. Another one that I own myself. So I may be talking my book here. Wow, had a really nice spike up here. Thought it was going to correct a little bit more. Didn't even take out the August low in September. Amazing. Look, if it does pop down to like 163, 165 region, I think that's fine. I don't think it's necessarily ready to make new optimize from here. I think it's in a consolidation zone. So, you know, it probably comes back down, sets in that higher low in the 160s. And then I guess I would be bullish from there, man. Like, this is pretty fucking strong. Overall, it's bullish, man. So yeah. Yeah. Now, personally, I would love for it to drop down lower just so I can buy more. But at this point, I don't think we're going to get much lower than even 150, even in like a best case scenario. And if it did go lower than that, I don't think that I'd want it, to be honest. So yeah, that's kind of like the issue here. Anyways, one moment. Live City, thanks for your analysis, sir. Mahalo, sir. Appreciate that, ma'am. Appreciate that. Let's see what else we got. G says, hello, Krown. What's up, man? Good job. I thought it was a ticker. I was like, GJ, what's this one? Can we check the 5-day BBWP setup statistics? Sure, ma'am. I do have it. Let me just bring it up on my other screen. One moment. I'm pretty sure there is very likely a setup going on with that right now. Actually, no. Oh, sorry, we're on Palantir. There should be. Yeah, there is. Oh, wow, and it's expanding. So I missed this one as well. Let me throw it over here. I know it's very deep in this one. This one has actually not failed throughout the full history of Bitcoin. And the average return from this one is in the 40%. So now we have multiple setups from multiple different angles, completely unrelated to each other, that are all suggesting higher. This one, probably the most convincing to me, to be honest. This one would have fired off officially on last night's closure. So if we take from that up 40, I mean, that's going to be like 160 maybe. Man, it's a good thing that's Fiboswani's like shaking his head in the back, just like, you fucking idiot. I've told you this shit was going to happen well before in advance. Like, yep, I know. I get there a lot slower, man. I get there a lot slower. I know. That's why you're the master. Yeah, 170. So we have now multiple things quoting a 170 target or so, or somewhere around there. Interesting. And this one, how long does it typically take? A little bit over a month on average. A little bit over a month. I should note that the last signal we got from this one took actually a lot longer. This one took about 60 days. But yeah, really powerful. Really fucking powerful. Anyways, Chris Vela says UAMY. UAMY? What is this? UAMY. Oh, it's like the stock? United States Antimony Corporation? What is this? I don't know, but it's bullish as fuck. It's really good. No time frames given, but I think it's bullish on all time frames, man. Nothing bad about, it's not making new ultimas, but this is a strong move nonetheless. I do want to point out that it actually is probably very close to a pullback. It is testing this prior major high here from 1983. I don't even know if that's going to matter, to be honest. But usually when you approach major highs like that, you are going to pull back on the first pass. So if I had to bet, maybe it spikes like slightly higher towards $8.50 and then pulls back a little bit. But overall, it's bullish. I think you're getting close to a pullback relatively soon. After that, I mean, do I think it's going to reclaim or, retest prior all-time highs this quarter? Probably, yeah. Again, if not now, then when? Binary God says Sun 5-day daily new hype treasury soon will be HSI ticker as they increase their holdings. Oh, you mean it's in the Hang Seng, like China's index? Let's see. Sonnet Bio. Oh, it's a biotech. Okay. Oh man. Okay. Biotechs do like altcoin, alt shit type moves, man. I don't have a real analysis on something like this, man. Because what you're doing is you're basically playing like one of those announcements that they make, and they operate like shitcoins. I don't think technical analysis is going to really work here. Now, if you're asking my opinion of it, you know what I'm going to say because it's just a downtrend, so I'm always going to hate that. But these things, they actually can explode out of nowhere. Like if they have like a real breakthrough, shit like that. Will the treasury outperform the underlying asset? It depends how they structure things. I don't know. I don't know. Would I rather have this chart or this chart? I'd rather have this chart, but I think this one's going to pull back relatively soon as well. But overall, the reversal is real. I think we called this one out last quarter as well. Yeah, the reversal is real. I think it's going to pull back soon, but the reversal is real to the upside. The conservative cat said, "Kate, oh man, this is actually like one of my most prized holdings. This is probably my best long-term investment that I've done in the past few years. It's holy shit. It's almost at $100. I spoke about this in my portfolio video. I bought this thing below $30. I'll put it that way. This has been a fucking insane, crazy, amazing move. I really don't know what to make of it. It has all of the major things that I love in a long-term hold. It's technology focused, it's AI focused, it's drones focused, it's military focused. It's been a fucking crazy, like the craziest move I've ever seen that I've actually been a part of, I think. Okay, well, no, technically Bitcoin will still be that. But for a stock, absolutely. Well, no, actually, no. Coinbase, I've had better run there as well. Well, fair enough. Anyways, if you're on a daily and weekly, I mean, you might get a, this really is fucking vertical. This is insane. God damn. I mean, once you get to the 90s, you usually get to the 100s. So I think you will at least get to 101, 102 region, maybe a pullback somewhere around there. I don't think that's going to be the next major high for this thing. I think it will at some point get towards your 2003 high, which is somewhere between like 140 to 160. That's where I have my alert set. But I should probably start to take partial profits soon. This is just an insane chart here. Absolutely insane. Yeah, again, I'm kind of in shock myself on this one. I think it's still bullish here. I think it's still going up. I'm not really getting any tangible signals of like a major pullback just yet. I mean, shit, man, this thing could pull back all the way to fucking $70 and I'd still be bullish on it for a quarterly. I think it's generally going to go higher. I would hope that there's more constructive pullbacks along the way because this sort of vertical stuff, does make me certainly concerned, but just let it do what it's going to do, I guess. I know I'm not really saying anything helpful in this one. What I'm trying to say is I'm going to continue to hold. I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm holding. That's all I'm doing right now, man. That's all I'm doing. All right, I'll get back to the chats over here. Is that a giant derpin handle? This? Not really, no. Well, I mean, if this is your cup and then this is your handle, it still doesn't really work out as that because the handle would have retraced too deep. But again, it's like I'm putting up my finger here and I'm being like, actually, it's not actually one because it's technically not, but the implication is the same. It's a fucking uptrend. I mean, that's really what a cup and handle is. You're getting a low followed by a test of the prior high and then a higher low followed by a higher high. So you have a reversal into an uptrend or a continuation, really. What's up, Bear Nutrition? Good to see you, man. Good to see you as always. Let's see. Antoine Dev says render, please. RENDR. This one again, an early market cycle winner. Is a winner thus far or still? Maybe yes, maybe no. No, it is not. Some more cold brew just popping up. Look, man, when Bitcoin's leading the charge and doing what it's doing, to me, it's a very ugly sign when, XYZ shitcoin is not following. At some point, does it spike up and get one of those nice moves? Probably, yeah. But as usual, they all fail. They all fail. Like this thing it's a down only chart over a long period of time. You didn't really give me a time frame to go off of, so I don't really have much here. But no matter which way I spin it, like, look, the long-term trend is down. It's fucking down. If by some act of God you reclaim the 420 high right here, great number, then I think that you do have some decent upside, maybe back up to like $6, $7. But still, do I think it's going to get back above this high ever? No. Do I think it's going to get above this high ever? Double no. This is just garbage, man. Like, you can be holding things that are actually going up. You can be holding things that are actually going up. What? You can hold things that are actually going up? Yeah, it's true. It's true. You can hold things that are going up instead of going down only. It's amazing. It's an amazing idea. Like I said, if Bitcoin makes new highs here, I don't think these shitcoins are going to like break down. You know, they should follow to some degree, but they're all looking like quite ugly. John Dude says Red Cat doing good. Man, it's like I think you must have watched my video or something, because this is also my other major mid-cap military defense stock. I mean, defense is fucking war stock. It's what it is. Red Cat. Holy shit. Thanks for calling this one out, man. This is not a bad move. You know, I am going to sell this one at some point, because I just don't see it as like a long-term mega winner like Kratos. But, you know, this is good right here. I think it's got some more upside. I think it's going to go up to $20 plus, maybe even fucking $40, $50. Other than that, though, man, let's put it on log scale here just for a second. Yeah, I think you have some upside here. You know, if this thing gets back up to like $30, $40, that'd be great. But I personally don't want to be holding this one for the long term. Kratos, I very likely will hold for the long term. I'll keep like a core position there. Sui, rip or dip. Let's see. It's hard to be looking for dips on any of these things if Bitcoin is just generally up here. So let's see, 360. Again, did this one fulfill our monthly rule? It has fulfilled our monthly rule. So for me, I am not bearish as long as you're above that red 5 EMA. It continues to hold above there. Would I be expecting a rip here or a dip first? Certainly less strong than Bitcoin. I really don't know. Honestly, I really don't know. If it does dip, I don't think it's going to be a crazy dip, maybe like 340 or something like that. If it were to happen, ultimately, I am going to be bullish on this thing for the greater move, more long term, as long as you're again above the red 5 EMA, which is about 3.25 now. And last month it did once again close above. So to me, that means this thing is more likely to head up to like 4.25 than it is to go below last month's low. But hey, if you go below last month's low, I mean, that would be a great reversal signal for this thing to come down well below $3. But yeah, until that happens, the direction is the upside, risk is to the upside. I mean, this thing could maybe even break out. I mean, this would probably be one of the better candidates for a real breakout as well. You know, compared to most of the fucking things that we've seen. To be fair. Anyways. Okay. RGTI going insane. What do I know this one from? I think this was maybe something that I was looking at, or... Oh, yeah, really fucking good. Yeah, just get out of the way of shit like this, man, because it is going up until it doesn't. I know that's not helpful, but just get on strong trends, man. Crypto Chart is looking at Pengu, the Pengu coins. Yes, my Pengu coins. They're the ones that are going to make me rich. Fuck all of this Rigetti computing stuff. What do they do? They make real products? What fucking idiots? They could be making Pengu coins. At least this thing's gone up, so there is that. I eat my words here. I mean, to me, the question is, are you caught in a consolidation at these lower levels, or is this thing going to pop back up to like 3.5 cents? I don't know. I really don't know. If I had to call it, I think that this thing does try a little bit of upside here towards 3.5 cents. Yeah. I don't think you're breaking below this low anytime soon, and I don't think you're breaking above this price action pivot right here at 4 cents anytime soon. So I do think 3.5 cents maybe in the short term, come back to it after that. It isn't a general downtrend right here, but this is kind of it's a very organized downtrend. So to me, that's more than likely to be a consolidation. It's not terrible, honestly. Crypto Cars and Coffee says, GM, what's up, ma'am? XRP 4 hour and daily. We kind of went over this one earlier. 4 hour time frame though, not necessarily. I do think, Yeah. So I'll repeat what I said earlier, or let me go. This was the better chart that we have it on. Has it already drawn out over here? Please, yeah, please ban this spamming emoticon fuckface. Very annoying. Anyways, yeah. So if XRP is going to be bearish, this is kind of like the last point of contact for the next lower high, if it is going to put in a lower high. But we're not really getting oh, hold on. It could be a lower high because we actually do have potential for hidden bearish divergence, but you need to reject exactly from here. So we've had this area marked off for the last week, and that is around $3 to 305. If we are going to expect this thing to be bearish, you expect a lower high here. You expect a failure. You expect a rejection. You expect this thing to go down basically from where you're at right now. With the way that things are acting, with the way that Bitcoin is acting, more importantly, it's hard for me to see things have like any real downside movement. Of course, if Bitcoin does play out a pullback, it's possible, I guess, then that would put this thing in severe jeopardy because you'd have, 4 or 5 lower highs in a row. But at the same time, you still have lower highs. So the bias does not officially flip for myself as long as you're below the last lower high right here, which is 314. Above 314 on a daily closing basis, you do have a reversal because you'd have a higher high there. Yeah, so fair enough. 4-hour time frame, I don't have any major. I don't have any major things to say about this. If anything, the 4-hour time frame looks to me like it'd probably try again, like 310 or so. But yeah, I'm mostly running this analysis off of what Bitcoin's doing. And if Bitcoin just doesn't, have any real pullback here, which I don't think it's going to, I think Bitcoin's more likely to make new highs from here than to pull back below, especially like 117. Then it's hard. It would be very hard for me to see this thing reject. I think it's going to generally push through, and it should, get back up to these former glories of like 340, 350, something like that. Something like that, man. Something like that. All right, one moment. What's up, Asti? Did we do silver yet? Let's go look at silver really quickly. XAG, yes. Okay, that is the one. Yeah, really good. This one, like, I've been bullish on it now for a fucking year, it feels like, and I feel so stupid for not owning it. I really do. It's painful for me to look at this thing, because I remember last year we were looking at this thing somewhere around like 29 to 30 bucks, and I'm like, this is looking like a real reversal now. And for fuck's sake, it really is a real reversal. You're back basically at all-time highs. I think that you will make new all-time highs at some point in this quarter, probably sooner rather than later. If you do have a pullback just by the virtue of testing this prior high, which is a very common thing to do, it would very likely come from where it's at right now. But I think like worst case scenario, you pop back down to like 43, 44 bucks, something like that. Overall, I'd be bullish on this thing. Now, personally, I wanted to pull back because I would like to own some. But look, this is a very strong move, like very strong move. Yeah, I'm talking my book on this one. I wanted to pull back. I don't think you're going to get any real sizable pullback here. Like maybe low 40s. Maybe. What's up, Tom Krown? We made it. Well, we're close to making it. We're close. We've almost all made it. We almost all made it in 2021, but then we didn't. We failed. Now, my dear friend, now my dear brother, we are very close to almost making it again. But it does look to me like Bitcoin's going to make it from here. I mean, shit. If it was going to pull back, I think it really would have happened on that retest of September highs. Instead, it just pushed right through. That's a reversal. You have a higher high and a higher low. All higher term time frame trends are now to the upside, and momentum oscillators are pointing to the upside. And we have several setups to the upside, and we have statistics that do suggest that upside now is more likely, especially during this whole quarter. If not now, when? If not now, when? If not now, when? We are made it. Ripper Redact, we've made it. Fuck yeah, man. Hell yeah. Yeah, we looked at Palantir a little bit earlier. My silver trade is crushing Bitcoin. My Bitcoin this year. Has it gone up more than Bitcoin? I don't know about that. Oh, if it's just this year, then probably yeah. I mean, this thing's gone up multiples this year already. Hold on, let's double check. Started January at $21. So yeah, it's more than 2x. Bitcoin started January at like 90,000 bucks, I think. Something like that. Yeah, about 95 to 100,000 bucks. So yeah, Bitcoin up about 20-ish%, 30-ish% from year start. I mean, it doesn't really matter, like, if you measure from the start of the year, to be fair, like, very arbitrary measurement. We might as well start the measurement from like last month, But yeah, for this year, yeah, absolutely, it has been better. I mean, shit, way better, in fact, almost 3x better in terms of returns. That's big. That's fucking big, man. Only thing I can't shake is the unanimous celebration of bullishness. It's giving me some anxiety. Yeah, it does feel to me that we are going to see that parabolic sort of fourth quarter now, which to me is a very bittersweet thing. It's like, yeah, it's going to go up. It's probably going to go up a lot. Maybe we see one of those Fiboswani targets get hit. I mean, shit, at this point, it's probably fucking stupidity to fade them. But at the same time, if we do see a parabolic quarter this quarter, then I think the 4-year cycle is still intact, and we're going to get the usual result after that, which is going to be some pretty nasty downside. Personally, I don't want that. I want to see like more sort of stair-steppy behavior. But hey, I guess that's going to be good news for a lot of the shitcoin people if that plays out, because that's when those shitcoins actually can do something pretty crazy. It's the beginning of the end. I do think it's something like that, man. I do. But enjoy it while it lasts. There's a lot of money to be made. This is where million billionaires can be fucking minted, I guess. So fair enough. Treat it with the utmost respect, because it's not guaranteed for forever. Krown, that usually happens in the parabolic phase, probably some traps along the way. Yeah, I mean, there very likely will be, some very volatile, quick down and then upside moves, but generally there's going to be opportunities. You're going to be bailed out even if you're aggressive during them. So yeah, that's kind of the problem with these sort of portions of the market cycle as well. It lulls you into this very false sense of security where you think, oh shit, it literally only goes up, and even if I buy right here and it goes down like 10% in my face, I'm gonna be fine, because in a few days or in a week it's going to go back up. I mean, yeah, that's when this kind of shit happens, and it's very deceiving, especially to new people, because they start to think, oh shit, it's no problem. I'm 20% underwater here. It's no problem. It's just gonna go back up. No problem. Yeah, rite of passage in shitonomics. In a way, yeah. It looks like the 4-year cycle is still alive and well. Is a liquidity cycle? It seems to me like that's a very difficult theory to disprove at this point. If that plays out again, I mean, for fuck's sake, man, I guess it quite literally is. We are in a period of fiat debasement that is continuing onwards and forwards. Nothing has changed. It looks like almost time for the moons to kick into, right? That is true, Binary God. I think the new one comes out on Monday. Let's double check. I'm quite confident, though, it is Monday, something like this. Okay, maybe let's get off of this one, go to the daily over here. And let's see. So the last one was on the 21st of September. We are 12 days in. So yeah, Monday. Monday is the full moon. Crazy. We got the moons. We got the 5-day setup. We got the 5-day BBWP setup. We got October statistics. We got fourth quarter statistics after September green. We have, what else? We have Fiboswani. Yeah, man, it's looking pretty fucking good, man. Russell 2000 already broke all-time highs. Let's check it out. Wow. Yes, it is at new all-time highs. Yeah, very hard to hate that, man. Very hard to hate that. The breakout looks real. I guess you could make a measured move on this as well. Let's see what it would kind of imply. You got range high, range low. I'll quote Fiboswani here. It's basically the rate of change on this one, which I do think that is an accurate depiction. I mean, that would give an implied move, what, 36.5, 3,700? Like, that's a big move. This is a big breakout. I mean, this is a breakout. This is a consolidation that has been going strong since 2021. So about 4 years now, 4 years of sideways. Oh, it's looking good. It's looking good. All right. I think when all the stars, moons, and planets align, that's when shit fails. Very possible as well. It's always, I mean, hey, there is always a non-zero probability of that happening as well, sir. All right, guys. All right. It's been a very pleasurable Friday stream. I really appreciate everyone joining in, especially our special guests, Mr. Tom Krown and Fiboswani, and all of our lovely moderators, as usual, Nikki Page, Bear Nutrition, Peter Underwood, and I'm probably forgetting some people who may be here right now. But if I am, my apologies. It's been a pleasure to have everyone here. I love all of you guys very, very much. We'll be back on Monday with another live stream analysis. I'll upload, hopefully, one of my history nerd videos this weekend. Probably very few people will be very interested in it, but it's not for you if you're not interested in it. It's something that I've actually really enjoyed putting together. But anyways, we'll end the video right there. As always, wish everyone the best of the best. It's been an absolute pleasure. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully Monday.